Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. So I think Xbox has had a pretty good week. They just had their big showcase yesterday. I thought it was very good, and they did confirm yet another major 2024 exclusive there. However, lo and behold, they actually already have a major console exclusive that just released today. This is really exploding online. So we'll dive into that today, as well as a rather interesting update for Xbox Game Pass. Also, Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders have suddenly been spotted online, and this has a lot of people talking about a possible soonish announcement. But does this actually mean anything or not? Well, stay tuned and we'll dive into that as well. To get things started off, though, let's just go and talk about that now confirmed Xbox console exclusive being Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. One of the big talking points right now for this game is that it is set in first-person view. A lot of people did go in with the expectation that it would be a third-person game, like a lot of other games in the action-adventure genre. Even coming from somebody like myself who knows machine games kind of excels at that first-person genre, I was a little hesitant thinking that it could be a first-person game. But after seeing the gameplay myself, I left impressed. This game honestly looks great, but there is still a lot of talk about this first-person view, and I kind of wanted to see what the general opinion is right now. So what I did is I scoured the various YouTube trailers posted by different outlets like Xbox, Bethesda, IGN, and GameSpot, and every single time, the evidence was clear. Its trailer is heavily being praised, with the vast majority giving it an upvote. So I think that's a very good sign on how the mass public is currently viewing Indiana Jones with that first-person view. Again, it might take some people by surprise, but it still looks very good, and for me, I'm actually happy that Machine Games is trying something a little bit different. You know, this won't just be another Tomb Raider or an Uncharted game. It's going to be its own thing, and it's going to try some different things, and that means something to me. I feel like developers and gamers so often fall into this trap that we want everything to be just like the last. So for me, I like when we get unique and fresh experiences, and that's how I kind of view this Indiana Jones game. Again, it looks good, and it's just a little bit different. So I'm excited to try this out for myself, and based on the feedback, it seems like a lot of other people are as well. Oh, and speaking of online controversy, of course, there's been a lot of talk this week about physical media versus the increasingly digital-only future. Well, one thing that we have seen over the years is the rise of companies that tries to bring more physical games to fans. A lot of times this is with smaller independent games that tends to be digital-only when they first launch, and now one of 2023's best games, Sea of Stars, is heading to physical. This is through IM8-bit, which also handled the physical launch of Psychonauts 2. I did purchase that one myself. They did a fantastic job, and it looks like they're doing good work with Sea of Stars as well. Now, there will be two different versions, though. The retail version, which will go live at places like Amazon, or you can get the exclusive version directly from the IM8-bit website. If you get it at their website, you're going to get a lot of extra stuff, including an exclusive box art, a retro-style game manual, a collectible slipcase, a double-sided poster featuring original art and an oversized world map. It'll also include the complete soundtrack download, which is 200+ tracks, and it'll also have 4 sticker sheets. You'll get all of this for $45, and it is available for all consoles, being the Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. So that seems like a pretty good deal, all things considered, and I do like when we get these partnerships for these beloved games. I'm actually hoping we see more of this from some of the games that we currently don't have. Games like Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, that's a big one for me, and of course, Hellblade 2 down the line as well. But again, I'm glad companies like this exist, and I'm hoping to see them strike plenty more deals for some of these popular digital-only games. Okay, so let's go talk about Xbox Game Pass, though, because it has gotten off to a fantastic start for 2024. I mean, we know that it has some big games coming this year, including Persona 3 Reload here in just a few weeks. They also announced several at yesterday's Xbox Direct. But the thing is that we've already gotten our first breakout hit of 2024, being Palworld. See, I feel like there's always been this cautious optimism over this game. It's Pokemon with guns. That's how people describe it. And yeah, okay, that's bizarre on paper, but when you see the gameplay, it looks fun. So I feel like there's always been an interest from those trailers early on, but now that it's actually out and people are seeing how good this game is, it is taking the world by storm in ways that I don't think anybody fully expected. In just its first 8 hours alone, it's already sold 1 million copies and is broken into the top 25 peak players of all time on Steam. It's already reached 370,000 concurrent players, which is crazy to think about for a completely new IP like this. Because it's so popular though, yes, of course it did end up breaking the servers, which I think is understandable in this situation. I imagine this game is so far beyond the success that Pocket Bear was expecting, and plus this is an early access title on top of that. You shouldn't go in expecting everything to be perfect for an early access game, especially when hundreds of thousands of people are hammering the servers. But here's the thing. It's not just the raw numbers that's so impressive about Palworld. This would mean absolutely nothing if it wasn't a good game. Well, I'm happy to say that it's a great game, and it's being heavily praised for that fact. As of this recording, it has a 92% approval rate on Steam, which, that's always a great indication. But I can also kind of speak for myself here. I downloaded Palworld on Game Pass earlier today, and it really is as fun as people are claiming. If you've been hearing all the glowing praise online, yes, I can attest to that. It really is a good game. Now, if I were to compare it to anything, though, this is not just Pokemon with guns. It actually feels a lot like Ark Survival Evolved, but with more Pokemon-like elements. If anything, I would say that it's a survival game plus Pokemon. I mean, that might be an odd combination, but you know what? It works. Now, at the same time, though, this is not a perfect game per se. It is an early access title after all, but that really only impresses me that much more, because that means it still has so much more potential to be even better than it already is. After playing it for a bit, though, I thought to myself, you know what, my daughter would probably like this game. So I went to her and I was like, hey, you want to try this game out? She said, yeah, and then from that point forward, I never touched the controller again. She ended up playing for 4 straight hours, and she just seemed absolutely glued to this game. And to me, when a game can pass the kid test and can keep their attention for that long, that oftentimes tells you that it's a very fun game. So I really can't recommend Palworld enough. The hype for this game is absolutely legit, and there is a reason that it's blowing up online. It's been trending all day on Twitter, and even on Steam, they've recognized this as well. Palworld is currently the banner for Steam Store, which again is just so crazy for a brand new IP like this. This really is the first breakout hit of 2024, and technically, right now it is an Xbox console exclusive, and it is available in Xbox Game Pass. So this is a big get for them as well. If I was Xbox's marketing team right now, I'd be advertising this as much as possible to funnel in as many people as they can to their ecosystem. Speaking of growing their ecosystem, though, it's been a while since we've gotten an official update for Xbox Game Pass. The last number that we had heard was that they had 25 million subscribers, but a lot of people are curious as to where it's at today. Well, according to a senior games analyst at Omdia, he estimated that Game Pass currently has more than 33 million subscribers excluding Game Pass Core, which was previously Xbox Live Gold. You can see here where he said that our forecast estimates total Xbox Game Pass subscriptions, excluding Core Live Gold, to be at 33.3 million at the end of 2023, which represents subscriber growth of just 13%, down from 15% in 2022. Notably, over half, 55%, are currently on the device agnostic ultimate tier. So there's really 2 parts to this topic. One is that, yeah, that's a pretty large growth since we've last heard Microsoft's official numbers. It sounds like they've grown by 8 million, which I'd say that that's pretty impressive on its own. But this statement also lines up with something else that we've heard elsewhere. Matt Piscatella here recently did mention that game subscriptions growth are starting to flatten a little bit. They're not really seeing that same insane amount of growth that they did early on. But still, Game Pass, as we're seeing here, is continuing to grow, which is good to see. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see just how much that growth can continue for the next few years. They do now have Activision and games like Call of Duty. That's going to be huge. They just got Palworld, which kind of seems to be this phenomenon right now. They have Indiana Jones, one of the most recognizable IP in the world, and that's really just scratching the surface of what Xbox has in store. Those acquisitions are starting to pay off, and they're going to have a lot more exclusive content that will launch directly into Game Pass over the next few years. So if anybody has a shot at getting a lot more subscriptions, it would probably be Xbox Game Pass. But I do like what we're seeing here so far. Matt Piscatella did point out that game subscriptions is not dominant. It's more of an additive to how people already play their games. Games are still selling well despite there being a lot of subscriptions out there. I mean, we're seeing that from Palworld right now. And I think Starfield is kind of another example of that. It sold very well on places like Steam, and it also helped grow Game Pass. It did break a record for Game Pass growth in a single day. So it does seem like the 2 formats can live side by side together. And that's what you want to see, a healthy dose of both. You want games to sell well, but you also want to see the subscriptions grow too. And it seems like right now, Xbox is doing a pretty good job at that. Now, we do also have some Nintendo Switch 2 news, as it's been spotted that a Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order suddenly went live. This is over at Mecha Japan, which is a website that has a pretty good reputation. You can import various Japanese products from them. If you've ever purchased from Play Asia, this is another place kind of similar to that to an extent, but with them having a good reputation, this listing has started to catch a lot of attention. People in forums are now speculating on whether or not this suggests a soonish announcement from Nintendo themselves. Maybe they let retailers know ahead of time, and that's why this listing suddenly popped up. Maybe Mecha Japan let the cat out of the bag a little bit early, and okay, I guess that's possible. But I think the more likely scenario here is that this is more of a publicity stunt. I mean, I get it. I know it would be more exciting if I told you all that this pre-order was a sign of its imminent announcement. I'd love that. But if I were to guess, I think that this is just Mecha Japan getting ahead of the game here to funnel more traffic to their website. I mean, we know that the Switch 2 is likely coming in 2024. This is not a hard prediction to make by this point. So why not put a listing up early like this that gets people talking about their website? That's what we're doing right now. We're talking about Mecha Japan. And I feel like for a lot of you all, this is probably the first time you've heard about them. So if that's their strategy, it's clearly working. If you actually look at this listing, though, it doesn't really tell us anything that we can't speculate ourselves. It doesn't have a price. They named it the Nintendo Switch 2, which who knows what Nintendo will actually name their next console. I hope they'll go with Switch 2 or maybe even the Super Switch. That would be a good name as well. But it's really hard to tell what Nintendo will come up with. And then lastly, over on Mecha Japan, its release date is clearly a placeholder that says December 31st, 2024. So, no, I don't think that this listing is any kind of indication of really anything. With that said, though, I am expecting a Nintendo Direct to happen next month in February. They've historically put their Nintendo Directs in February, so we could get some big Nintendo news here sometime soon. But even then, I'm not necessarily convinced that they will actually announce the Switch successor there. I like that, but I could also see them holding off on its announcement until it gets closer to release, which is expected to be fall of 2024. So the rampant Switch 2 rumors and speculation could really last through a large portion of 2024. I think people need to just go ahead and sit tight for a while. But if anything interesting does happen, of course, I'll let you all know. Let's go take a look at the poll of the day, though. It's actually been a little while since we've gotten to do this. But, you know, with the Xbox Direct, I wanted to ask you all, what letter grade would you give the Xbox Developer Direct 1.18.2024? And the vast majority of you all really did enjoy this Direct. A combined 81% of you all gave it an A or B, which really, I think, tells you everything that you need to know. This was a very good showcase. I was very impressed with it myself yesterday. Avowed, I think, looks like a great RPG. It's a lot better than the last time we saw it, and I was very impressed. They showed Indiana Jones, and while that game might have surprised some people, again, it looks fantastic. And then you have Hellblade 2, and while we've seen this game a lot already, we did get a release date, and it continues to look absolutely amazing. I know the whole, it's digital only, that's a little upsetting, but the game itself does look, frankly, amazing. Then even Aura History Untold, I know that's a little bit more of a niche title, but it does look pretty good for what it is. I hope you strategy fans out there are pretty excited about that one because it does look like it has a lot to offer. But yeah, I think that Xbox got off to a fantastic start for 2024. I mean, Xbox Direct, I think, was a big win. Then you have Palworld, and it is just soaring to new heights. And then we even have Persona 3 Reload next month. I mean, Xbox fans have a lot to be happy about right now, and this is just the beginning of 2024. Who knows what other surprises are in store. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this video. I hope everybody has a great weekend ahead of them. I know it's been snowing in a lot of places, so, you know, bundle up. But until next time, peace out.